All right, eighth graders, this video is going to help prepare you for Tuesday's quiz. You have a quiz on translations, reflections on Tuesday. So what your teachers have allowed is that the AIS teachers create a quiz, a review that's very, very similar to your quiz so that there's no guessing game. What might I be asked Tuesday? Really, if you can understand this quiz review and you work through this quiz review and do your best with it, you should be prepared for Tuesday's quiz. All right, let's see. And this is a intervention that we're rolling out from this point forward for any of your larger quizzes or tests. So just keep an eye out. These types of videos will be coming your way. Let's take a look at number 1. It says, which point is a reflection of point D over the x-axis? Okay, it's going to be important on your quiz Tuesday that you make sure you identify what axis you're going over. So I would suggest you highlight. I know Mrs. Gandro provides highlighters. Or you box in to remind yourself, okay, I'm going over the x-axis. I need to reflect point D over the x-axis. So then Miss Gandro would have you highlight the x-axis to remind yourself, okay, this is the axis I'm going over. So if I'm reflecting point D over the x-axis, which point will it become? So you know you're 1, 2, 3 above the x-axis, so you need the point that is 1, 2, 3 below the x-axis. So it will become point G. And you just remember, because D was 3 above, and you've reflected it over the x-axis, it's going to be the point that is 3 below. Also, if you were asked for the coordinates, which you're not, the coordinates of G, of that reflected point, are 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 1, 2, 3. So that would be 4, negative 3. All right, let's take a look at the next one. It says, which point is a reflection of point B over the y-axis? So now we'd be going over the y-axis. So again, Miss Gandro would have you then highlight the y-axis. If on your quiz it's too much to have just the one grid, you want one for the y-axis, one for the x-axis, just let your teacher know. We can always provide you with a second copy of this grid. All right, so we're going to reflect point B over the y-axis. So Miss Gandro would be like, all right, box in or highlight y-axis. Then she'd be like, all right, on the grid, make sure you're looking at the y-axis. Then you're looking at point B. So you're starting at point B. You're reflecting it over the y-axis. So you're flipping it over the y-axis. So you say, okay, B is 2 to the left of the y-axis. So once I reflect it, it's going to be the point 2 to the right of the y-axis. So that will be point C. Keep in mind, point C is the point 2, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3 in that first quadrant. All right, let's move along. It says, which is a reflection of point negative 2, 3 over the line y equals x? Okay, so it's important to know, you have to know, what does that line y equals x look like? Well, y equals x will be any line where the x and y values are the same. So 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, negative 1, negative 1, negative 2, negative 2, negative 3, negative 3, negative 4, negative 4, negative 5, negative 5, negative 6, negative 6. Okay, those are the points on the line y equals x. This one is 6, 6. This point down here is negative 6, negative 6. The line y equals x, the x and y values match. I do not have a straight edge at home, but I'm going to do my best to draw in the line y equals x, because that's the line we're reflecting over. And I'd say for all of the reflections you've learned, this one maybe can be a little challenging for students. So if I have the point negative 2, 3, negative 2, 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's point B. So if I have the point negative 2, 3, and I'm reflecting it over the line y equals x, that means if this was a mirror and I was looking directly into, the line y equals x, if this was the mirror, where would B, or negative 2, 3, land? Well, it's going to land somewhere over here. Went through about 1, 2, 2.5 boxes. So we're going to go through about, and then 1, 2 boxes. I'm saying it's going to land somewhere about here, and we're going to check out to be sure that is where it really lands. But if I put my mirror on this line and I reflected B over that line, I see how many boxes it cuts through above that line, and I got to go that same distance on this side. So it looks to me like the reflection will be 3, negative 2. All right, let's talk about the rule for reflecting over the line y equals x. If you're reflecting over the line y equals x, xy becomes yx. You just go ahead and you switch the order of your coordinates. So negative 2, 3 becomes 3, negative 2. Well, there you have it. Negative 2, 3 becomes 3, negative 2. So that's the point that we get. But you can always just draw in the axis, and it's a pretty good guesstimate. If you were looking right into that mirror, where would you end up? All right, let's see. Which point follows the translation rule for point G? Okay, which point follows this following translation rule? They want to know, where will G end up? If you have a translation, and then the rule is x minus 2, y plus 6. Okay, so it's important to know about your translation rules. That means you'll start at point G. X minus 2 means you'll move 2 left. And y plus 6 means you'll move 6 up. Oops. Means you'll move 6 up. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. 2 to the left. I'm going to erase all this other stuff. When I make up the actual answer key, I'll try to make sure I have more than one grid and leave on all of my extra pen marks off to the side. But for the videos, I don't think that's a good plan. So we're going to start at point G. We're moving 2 to the left, 6 up, because the translation is just a slide. So we're sliding that point. 2 to the left and 6 up. So I'm starting at G. I'm sliding it 2 left. And I'm sliding it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up. 2 to the left, 6 up. The answer to that translation would be point C. Point G becomes point C. We know point C are the coordinates 2, 3. All right? So hopefully that gives you an idea of what the grid will look like on your quiz, because we don't get crazy. We don't change it. We just change the questions asked, which is why it's really important that you box in what we're actually reflecting over or translating for the quiz. Let's look at the next question. Rectangle FGHJ is shown below. It's translated 6 units to the right and 1 unit up to produce F prime, G prime, H prime, J prime. So the first thing I would do, and then it asks the question below. This is from an old state test, so a lot of times they'll give a scenario, they'll give a picture, and then they always ask the question below. Which statement about side lengths of the rectangle is true? Okay, so first of all, some of you might need to actually draw in the translation, and that doesn't hurt. 6 to the right and 1 up. So if I start at point G and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the right and 1 up, this becomes G prime, the new G. If I take F and I go 6 to the right and 1 up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the right and 1 up, I get my F prime. H. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the right and 1 up. I get my new H, and we call that H prime. J, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the right, 1 up. We get our new J prime. And you'll see it's a completely congruent rectangle. Sorry that my lines aren't as straight as they should be. Make sure you have a straight edge on your test Tuesday. All right, so if we look at these two rectangles, they are congruent. These two rectangles are congruent. Okay, everything's going to have equal measure. That means if you start here with a 90-degree angle, even after you slide the rectangle at the corner of F, you'll still have a 90-degree angle. It means if FG was 1, 2, 3 units long, it means F prime G prime will still be 1, 2, 3 units long. It means if GH is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units long, G prime H prime will still be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units long. These are rectangles. If that top edge is 3, the bottom edge is 3. If the right edge is 5, the left edge is 5. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill in all my measures. We also know parallelism remains. So if FG in the original is parallel to JH, guess what? Once you slide it, F prime G prime parallel to J prime H prime. All right, let's see what the actual question asks. All right, so which statement is true about the side lengths of F prime, G prime, H prime, J prime? Well, I've labeled all my side lengths. It's going to be pretty easy to see. F prime, G prime is 3. Well, F prime, G prime is 3, so let's just write that down. F prime, G prime is 3. G prime, H prime is 5. G prime, H, well, there you go. G prime, H prime, we decided it was 5. Okay, it's letter A. All right, and they're just going to make sure that you can correctly count on a grid how long each side is. Ooh, this video is already 12 minutes, and I know I'm not going to be able to finish this one in 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the video here, and I'll do a continuation. If I can get my, oops, sorry.